it's Grandma Roseanne. We're going to make babka. What you say? Babka? What is that? That was exactly what I said. So I'm going to show you what it is. It's delicious. You will love it. We're going to make two kinds. We're going to make a chocolate babka and a cinnamon sugar babka. Now this is a yeast dough, and don't get excited. You're not going to get to eat it today. You won't get to eat it until tomorrow. So I will show you. So what we're starting out with is 3 teaspoons of yeast and 3/4 cups of water. Now that water temperature is important. So I just kind of stick, it should be between 90 and 105 degrees, but all I do is I just put my finger in it, and if the baby could drink it at that temperature, it's good. Okay, not too cold, not too hot. Now I'm going to leave it here, and I'm just going to let it bloom, which means that yeast is just going to become active. It'll start bubbling around the sides pretty soon, and we will know it's good. Now in my mixer here, I have 3 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of sugar and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Now I want to get that mixed up a little bit here. And now I'm going to add 3 eggs, one at a time. And all you're doing here when you are proofing your yeast is you just want to make sure that your yeast hasn't died. You want to make sure that it's okay. So cameraman, come here. Let them take a real quick look here. Do you see how this is all bubbling right now? That's telling me that we have very, very good yeast. It's alive, it's active, and it's ready to be incorporated into our mixture. Now I'm just making sure I can get all of that sugar, not sugar, I'm making sure I can get all of that flour incorporated in there. You see how much was stuck on the bottom? Okay. Okay, I have made sure that it's scraped down on the sides, that I don't have big clumps of flour on the bottom. And now we are going to incorporate 8 tablespoons of butter. This is a very, very rich and very delicious dessert. And don't throw all the butter in at one time. Let it really, really blend in there. It's going to make a difference. It is. As long as you have to stand here anyway, what's the difference? All right, this is our last addition. Okay, I'd like you to come and take a look at this. Do you see how sticky it is? It's sticky and shaggy. So what we have to do now is we have to knead it for 8 minutes. If you don't have a mixer that will knead for you, don't worry about it. Just do it by hand. It just takes a little bit longer. Finished product exactly the same. Now, while this is kneading, I will tell you a little story about how babka came about. Well, before I start the mixer. My grandson is Michael. He's 10 years old. And he is going to the, I think it's called Young Chef Institute, if I'm not mistaken. He's living in Texas. So he made popovers. If you haven't seen that video, you guys, go look at it. It's absolutely incredible. He and I were making popovers together, and he worked so hard to get them perfect, and they were perfect. So if you want to see a cute kid, go, or if you want to learn how to make great popovers, go. But as we're doing this, he told me that the favorite thing he liked that he learned to make was babka. I had never heard of babka. Have you heard of it? I had never heard of it. So I looked it up. It looked delicious. So cameraman and I gave it a shot. We made it. It was extraordinary, and I want to share that with you. So while this while it kneads for 8 minutes, then I will be back and I will show you what we do next. we have finished kneading the dough. Now I want you to always take a look at your dough. This had started out a little bit too sticky. So what I had to do was to add another 1/4 cup of flour. But you want your dough to be a nice consistency. So sometimes depending on humidity or temperature, it will affect the dough. So if you have to add a little bit more flour, do that. Be sure you knead it in. Okay. Now you're going to take a bowl. You want to spray some olive oil in it. You want to take your beautiful dough and get it out of the mixer, if you can. Come on. There. There you go. Sometimes you just have to encourage the dough. It is going to be a little sticky. It's going to be a little bit shaggy. That's okay. That's what you want. There. This feels so nice and it feels so rich. It really, really does. I'm going to give it just another little spray on the top. And we're going to cover it very, very tightly with some plastic wrap. And when I say tight, I mean tight. We don't want any air drying this dough out. Tight. Okay, 24 hours in the refrigerator. Can you do it for less time? I don't know, I haven't tried it. But you probably could. And if you're pressed for time, or if you have just some time to experiment, do it. I just know that when we did it before for 24 hours, it was absolutely perfect. So, I will see you back tomorrow morning. Have a nice evening. Okay, it's day 2 in our dough refrigerator for 24 hours, so I have just taken it out. It's hard as a rock, but it'll be fine. What I did first is I took 2 loaf pans and I prepared them. Butter, flour, pushed out the excess flour, and that's going to be ready as we need it. Now then, what we're going to do is take the dough and cut it in half because this is making 2 loaves. Now we're going to wrap half of this up and put it back in the refrigerator because we want it to stay very cool. Okay, now I have a floured surface here. I want to try to get this into kind of like a disc because I think it'll be easier on the rolling out part. You guys, this dough is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And as you start working with dough, you'll know when you have one that's like incredibly good. And this is incredibly good. I'm just trying to soften this up a little bit, okay? Now, we're going to roll this out. I don't know if you guys have ever used a rolling pin like this. It's a French rolling pin. I have used so many rolling pins in my life, and I have all of them in the drawers here. This is the best one I have ever used. It is absolutely fantastic. And I love it when we get a dough that's not hard to work with. Some doughs, honestly, are just treacherous to work with. This is not one of them. You will be very happy with this dough. We're going to roll this to about a 1/2 inch. I think we're there. A little bit more over here. When you feel it, when you tap it with your hands like that, you can feel where your high and your low spots are. And just move it around. Oh, Now, come on over here. And in here, I have 6 ounces of dark chocolate and 4 tablespoons of butter. And we are just going to melt them. Shouldn't take but just a couple of minutes. Now, what I did is I made enough of the chocolate mixture here to do both of the babkas, all right? However, I'm only going to do one with chocolate. I'm going to do the other one with cinnamon sugar, simply because cameraman loves chocolate. I love cinnamon sugar. So actually, if you're going to do what I did, cut your portions down here because you won't need that much. This will not go to waste, I promise you. We will use this chocolate for many things. Melting down really fast and really nicely. It's because I have this beautiful little pot that I bought that I absolutely love. Don't ask me why, I know. But those of you that like kitchen stuff, you know when you find one that's just like, oh my word, I have to have that. Well, that's what this pot was. And the coolest thing is, as it's heating, the handle doesn't get hot. Love it. Took a couple of minutes and we are done. Go that away, I go this away. 1/2 cup plus 1 tablespoon of cocoa, and I have 3/4 cup of powdered sugar. So we're going to mix those together first. You want to leave about 1 inch on the edge. Well, this part's fun. So now we're going to take our water and just around the edge, just so this will seal. How do you like that, cameraman? Because he said, oh, you're going to make a mess with that water and chocolate. But I didn't. All right, now this looks more difficult than it is, but it's not difficult because the dough is so beautiful. We're just going to roll it, just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this in half, lengthwise. I think a knife would work just fine with this, but I just have like a cool little pizza roller here. Now, if you're having some trouble cutting it like that, simply put it in the refrigerator and let it harden up a little bit. You'll have no trouble then. All right, I'm gonna roll it this way. Take your 2 ends and pinch them together. Okay, just like that. Take this over, take this over, and can we do another braid? We can. And pinch those together. Pretty cool, huh? Now then. Just get it positioned in your pan as good as you can. We're going to cover this now and we're going to let it rise for 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And I'm not going to show you the other one, the cinnamon sugar that I'm doing, because it's exactly the same, you guys. It's exactly the same. So don't worry about that one, but just If you like cinnamon sugar, just follow that one too. All right, so we will be back in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. We'll see how this rises. Okay, it's been 25 minutes. The house smells outrageously good. We have a beautiful, beautiful pastry here. And in this pan, I have made some simple syrup. So it's just 1/3 cup of water, 1/3 cup of sugar, and you just dissolve it. Now, this is going to take something that is wonderful and make it extraordinary. So the whole thing should go on here. And it will soak right in to that pastry. Now I have the other third ready to go for the other one I made, the cinnamon sugar one. But you want to use all of this. Oh my goodness. That's pretty amazing right there. Well, I think it's time for our taste test, and I know you're supposed to let this cool down, but we cannot wait. So, here goes. Doesn't that look good? Look at this. That looks beautiful, you guys. Looks good. All righty. Let's see what we have done. Did we create a babka that my grandson would be proud of? I hope so. Here you go. Oh. That is so flippin' good. Oh my word. And I'm not a chocolate person, and I love that. And the pastry part of this, so excellent. So anyway, I have to cut a piece for cameraman because you know he's going to be salivating on the other side of that camera right now. I'm going to leave the instructions below, the ingredients below. Come back, give us a little thumbs up, subscribe if you're enjoying our channel, and we will see you on the next video. We're going to grab a cup of tea, sit down and have a nice piece of pastry. Thank you for joining us today. Bye.